Well, hello there. How are we all? You are my babies. So, oh my word, have we got some stuff to talk about tonight, or today, or this morning, depending on where you are in the world. It is just before 11 p.m. on Wednesday night. Is it Wednesday? I don't even know what fucking day it is. How are you all? Now, I would go through everybody and say hello individually, but I'm not a loser. What do we got? In my opinion, I think Harsh quickly turned tables when Ryan came out publicly. Again, just my opinion. Ryan does not like child grooming, pedo, manipulative men, and his followers would let him know who is defending. I'm afraid that's obviously your opinion. Not true, but your opinion. What kind of swayed me kind of away from, how can I say, not being as forgiving as I was giving Doug the benefit of the doubt. And kind of listening to him say that he knew nothing. And that kind of threw me a little, bearing in mind that Doug did say that everybody knew. They had all conversed about it, they knew, and they were all open about it. So I gave Jared the benefit of the doubt and thought maybe he had discussed it and had discussed the entire story. So you think, if these guys have listened to the whole story, what has happened, and they have agreed to work with him, then it takes a certain type of person to do that. But there we go. We live and learn. Yes, I kind of agree with that. Ryan's not a bad person. He is very easily led, but aren't some of us in cases that are close to the heart? I just feel that Ryan, he was pulled in a very different direction than he should have very quickly, and it went horribly fucking wrong. So how are we? I'm 5 hours in the future. That's because I'm a time traveler. So who has seen number one in the chat? If you saw Squirrel Girls crime talk and the questions that she had asked Nick, tow truck Nick. Number one. And the number two, if you haven't got a clue what we're talking about. Lots of ones. You've seen it. Number two, someone doesn't know. Sarah Sunshine with a number two there. Prepare to be shocked. All you number twos, prepare to be shocked. And I know some of you love the phrase Occam's razor, but we're perhaps going to give a completely new meaning to that phrase this evening. Hasn't this Kiely case been a little bit of a mess already? It certainly has. And it's about to get a hell of a lot messier. If we can believe what we have been told. Tracy Laster missed the question. Number one, if you watched Squirrel Girl Crime Talk today. Number two, if you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. And an important banner about to go up. Just make sure that you read it and action it. Smash that like button, or I'll smash you. Come on. We can get it. We can hopefully get some people who don't know what we're going to be talking about to see this. And let's see what some of the naysayers say. I know what the naysayers are going to say. Do you know what I mean? This Kiely Rodni case has turned into utter insanity. Absolute insanity. So I watched the live today. I watched the Squirrel Girl Crime Talk channel. And what we're basically seeing here is that Squirrel Girl and somebody else who she knows done some digging. They've managed to get hold of Nick, and Nick has reached out to them. They have had a approximately 45-minute phone call, and during that 45-minute phone call, Squirrel Girl, doesn't it sound like a really weird superhero, like Catwoman? Squirrel Girl. I'd like to see the outfit. But yeah, so around a 45-minute call where she's asked Nick some questions. And I would imagine that what we've got here is the missing piece of the Adventures with Purpose video. That's what it would seem. Welcome to Harsh Reality, and thank you for being here. Don't forget to leave your DNA on that like button, sub, and share. Please be respectful to chat. Thank you. Squirrel Girl. Y'all will put me right if I go wrong. Spit it out, bro. What the fuck? It's nice, isn't it? Mean. So yeah, so basically we've seen Nick and Squirrel Girl have a conversation, and I've got some little bits of information from that. So what Nick is saying is he is saying, and he's not just saying, he's just saying with no doubt whatsoever in his mind, to the point where he would take a £1 million bet, $1 million bet. He is absolutely 100% positive that he saw Kiely on Saturday. So he saw, let that sink in a minute. Let that sink in. He saw Kiely on Saturday. Now, we all saw, or I'm hoping all of us saw, or some of you are going to be behind, the vehicle going into the reservoir. And for those of you who don't know what the reservoir looks like, that's what the reservoir looks like. And this marker, what am I doing? This around here is where Kiely went into the water. She's come out of here, which is where the party was, the sanctuary. She's come out here, gone down here, flew off down there. Well, we're saying Kiely, but a vehicle. And there was much speculation around this, wasn't there? And so he's basically saying he saw her on the Saturday. So after we've seen the vehicle go into the reservoir, that's what he's saying. And we'll come back to that in a bit. But let's just go through these notes. So to clarify, Nick went to this vehicle. And what it seems to be, what was kind of not made clear is why he was out to that vehicle. There was some issues with the gear. And what he's basically saying he believes happened is that car was potentially trying to be pulled out of gear while it was driving. So it got jammed between neutral and drive. And that's what the issue was. So just for clarification. So it wasn't that they didn't know how to work the car or anything like that, or some weird thing. It seemed to be that the car had somehow got stuck between gears, and he ascertained that it was likely that while it was trying to be driven off, someone has tried to take it, whack it out of gear, and it's got stuck. And that's why he was called out. Now, he is saying that Kiely, because we're going to say Kiely now, because we're saying that from him, okay? Because he is saying that this was Kiely. Now, he's saying he cannot confirm whether or not it was Jagger. And he has never, and Adventures with Purpose have never said that either. There's obviously been some speculation, but we all speculated as soon as someone mentioned the San Francisco ball cap. You know, everyone went fucking doolally because that's your go-to, isn't it? And you know that's the go-to. But this is a good question. We have to ask ourselves, why would Nick lie? Why do another interview? What skin does he have in the game? And this is a very important question, and we will come back to that. So he's spoken to Kiely. He's gone out to this car and he's saying that this girl was in distress. Kiely was in distress. Now think back to the questions that were being asked about the seatbelt, etc. And, you know, we then see the seatbelt sticking out of the back of the car and little things like that when it was being recovered. But let's just cut sideways here, because what we've got to think is the fire cam footage pretty much showed a vehicle, and I say a vehicle, going into the reservoir. Now, was that Kiely's vehicle that went into the reservoir? Or was that a car that looked very much like Kiely's that went into the reservoir? Occam's razor at the moment, isn't it? What, we've got someone who's saying that 100% they saw Kiely with her vehicle on the Saturday. So Occam's razor would say that the car that we saw on the fire cam go into the water in the early hours of the morning was not Kiely's vehicle. And it perhaps would then explain why there was confusion over whether the car did or did not have a sunroof, and why Sammy Smith felt the need to push the fact that Kiely's vehicle was the one with the sticker on the back, the Ram Bull sticker, whatever it was. So, you know, it's a weird one. Anyway, so no idea about the fire cam footage. So Nick had no idea about the fire cam footage. Still unclear what gear the vehicle's in underwater. So nobody has at this stage been able to ascertain what that was in. And I'm guessing only law enforcement will know that. But no one on any side of the board, as far as I know, knew about the fire cam footage until it was there and out for everyone to see. So if he's a plant, it ties into the theory. Thank you very much, your main girl. Now, what else have we got here? Long-time supporter, but did not know Jared. This was the one thing that kind of threw a little bit of a spanner into the works about Nick's credibility. Now, they basically said that Nick was a long-term supporter of the channel, but he didn't know who Jared was. Perhaps they were trying to hide his identity. I kind of thought, do you know what, maybe he wasn't really a supporter of them at all, and just felt that they, or someone's put him in that direction and said, look, reach out to these guys. Who knows? But perhaps they were trying to make it not look so suspicious why he went to them. Again, I'm just speculating. Harsh Reality, can you confirm that Nick has left the company and they can't find a video? I'm getting to that. But in answer to your question, yes, he left the company. He didn't get sacked. He left the company. So he said also, and this is something that's very alarming. Now, he's saying that at no point has mum or dad reached out. And Nick has said, like, a lot of people question why he hasn't come out, why he never came out until now. And what he's basically saying is he wanted mum and dad to come to him. You know, he's obviously put out the information in the video to Adventures with Purpose, and perhaps that would have been enough. It would be for me, wouldn't it you? Who in their right mind in this situation would be like, right, so we're being told by some teenagers that Kiely went missing, you know, and we've now got some guy come forward who's saying he saw her. So why don't they reach out to him? I don't get it. I don't get it. And, you know, since everything has gone on afterwards, and, you know, why haven't they reached out? I just don't understand. Even dad and granddad not reaching out to him. But he's saying, look, these were the only two people who he would have answered the phone to. I'm going to come back to that. The autopsy was so sketch. Because, again, Occam's razor. Occam's razor. Now, look, in terms of Jagger, not positive. So there was no positive ID on Jagger. Mum and dad never tried to contact him. Girl was clearly very distressed. He was simply focused on the girl. So that is why he doesn't really know what the boy looked like, because he was too busy looking at Kiely. If I was in his position, I'd have been pretty much looking at the male. That's just me, because I'd have thought, right, the girl is going to be the one that something's going to happen to, and I need to be able to know what this lad looks like and be able to describe him down to a fucking T. But that's just me. Now, video proof. AWP were aware that there was video proof, and he is saying that there was indeed video proof. And this is where things now start to go a little bit creepy. Now, what he's saying is he contacted AWP because he spoke to 2 law enforcement agencies about the footage he had, and everything was going fine. He was speaking to them, they were acknowledging the footage, they were having conversations about it, so on and so forth. And then another agency took over and spoke to Nick, and Nick was told at this stage that there was no footage. So Nick has turned around and said, well, hold on a second, there was, because I've spoken to 2 other agencies and we've had discussions about it. And they've turned around and said, no, there wasn't, and it wasn't actually that day you was there. And Nick has at this stage thought, hold on a second, I know where I was. He'd checked his GPS, he'd checked his phone. You know, a lot of phones, like iPhones, they store where you are, they store where you go, they store data, even in the background. Some people don't know how to access it, but your iPhone basically plots where you've been. So if you've got a cheating partner, you can go into the memory and find it and get them found out. If you need that service, I charge $1. So look, front and rear cameras. This was confirmed by Squirrel Girl and her friend as well, which is CCTV. So yes, they confirmed that these vehicles that he uses do indeed have a camera on the front and back. So they confirmed that, clarified it. Yeah. So Nick stated to AWP that he felt that there was a cover-up and they were hiding the footage. So that's what he told Adventures with Purpose. So he actually went to, when he spoke to them, he said, look, I had the footage to this, and he'd already had this conversation. This has all happened, and he's obviously relayed that too. So it makes you think now, you know, that's a grey area in the position that Adventures with Purpose are in, because that is coming out and saying that, you know, law enforcement are covering things up. And I'm guessing that who was the third law enforcement agency that got involved and then everything went missing? Are we feeling that that was Placer? Are we feeling that that was Nevada? But yeah, so we're saying that the footage miraculously vanished into thin air. Now we'll just touch on this for a second. The autopsy was so sketch. So what do we know about the autopsy? There was some information missing on the autopsy. It would appear, I don't know how true this is just what it appears to be, that mum, dad, whoever didn't want to confirm that the deceased person in the car was indeed Kiely. This was something that was done over the phone, you know, which is fucking bizarre. We're saying that the height didn't match. So who you know, again, Occam's razor, you know, where it just sounds like there was a vehicle pushed into the fucking reservoir and it wasn't Kiely in it. We're saying that a car went into the reservoir. There was later found to be a body. The details in the autopsy don't correlate with Kiely. And someone saw Kiely in her car the fucking day after. And that's where we are. That's in a fucking nutshell. That is exactly where we are. So now we have to make a decision, don't we? Dixie, I used to be a dispatcher for AAA and other motor clubs. They get the VIN number, tag number with every call. Then tow truck driver gets it on scene as well. So should be confirmed. And this is what he's saying. He's saying he confirmed everything, and obviously there was footage, and this is what has vanished. This is what they've got rid of. You know, it's I just don't know. You know, I can't see Squirrel Girl wouldn't make up her story. She offered 5K reward on her own. No, 100%. I cannot see Squirrel Girl lying. She's got nothing to benefit. This is not this. Everything now sits on Nick. This is why I put this poll in chat. You know, we've got to make a decision. I'm just going to close this poll now. So Nick is stating he is 100% sure he saw Kiely and Bocker on the Saturday. Do you believe him? 53% yes, 23% no, 24% unsure. The shock killed me, and that's where we sit with that. What do you guys think? You know, what do we know about the car? You know, I have got to now state the obvious, and that is, if it wasn't Kiely in the vehicle and it wasn't Kylie's car and it was someone else, then who was it in the car? Who was it? Whose car was it? And where the fuck is Kiely? And would that then explain why nobody's upset? You know, it's you know, and this hair, rumple, do you know what I mean? Occam's razor is the most obvious thing, or what's in front of you, the most logical. But with this information that Nick throws into the mix, what is the most logical thing? Because for me, someone lost their life and was put in a vehicle very similar to Kylie's, and it was put in the reservoir, and Kiely was moved somewhere else. I can't work it out. You know, like I say, we've had the issues over the sunroof, whether the two cars, one had a sunroof, one didn't, and that didn't really seem relevant. I certainly didn't entertain it. I didn't really even speak to it. But you know, if law enforcement got rid of Nick's footage, will it be on cloud to someone honest in law enforcement can get it? Would there be a backup? I can't answer that. You know, you can obviously delete backups. You know, you can delete backups, but this is where we are now. This is where we are. What do you guys think? What does this actually mean? You know, I'm pretty much lost for words with it. You know, we didn't want to drop this case. I didn't want to drop this case. And, you know, there's so many things now that if Nick is being honest, what's this, Brianna? I'm in no way justifying, so don't crucify me. I do think all this was intentionally put into motion, as it should have been. Jay needs to pay. I'm just saying someone started digging. This is mad. I've never seen anything like it, and we're likely not to see anything like it again. This is almost like we're getting a front row seat to things that potentially happen all the time. I would imagine that this is what I would expect to see in an episode of Pretty Little Liars, when a powerful person, their son or daughter, gives another child or minor or another kid some form of narcotic, perhaps, and they overdose, and this is the wheels in motion to get a powerful person's kid out of the shit. But law enforcement are either as bent as a two-bob bit, or they're getting had over royally. Harsh reality. There can be another potential possibility that could be the reason that evidence have gone missing. Could be down to witness protection program. This is something that was said. You know, this is something that was sent to me in email, that potentially this was a larger thing. This was potentially a trafficking ring again, and Kiely was moved into witness protection. Who knows? But this is, to me, and I hate to say it, but this screams conspiracy. Either Nick is a fucking mental case, or this is a cover-up, 100%. And I don't know how else to put it. You know, what I'd like to see in chat is put a number 1 in chat if you, up to seeing this or hearing this about Nick, you believed it was an accident, and now you're not so sure. So this situation, put a number 1 in chat if it's changed your mind from an accident to something more sinister. And put a number 2 in chat if this has just solidified what you already thought. So number 1 in chat if your mind's been changed. Number 2 if it's just you are now certain that this was a cover-up. Just trying to get a feel for the room. So a lot of 2s. So a lot of people who are now pretty much sure that this is a cover-up. And we've got we've got some 1s in as well that were sure it was an accident, and this has swayed them. You know, it's a difficult one. If it wasn't Kiely's vehicle and belonged to someone else, why have they not come forward to say so? What would road assistant Nick gain from making this up? I can't make it make sense either. What you've got to imagine, this car is a common as fuck car. You know, as common as muck. It's like the name Smith. Do you know what I mean? This car is like the name Smith. It's an easy car to, it just blends in anywhere. But, you've got to think to yourself, if this was something planned, then they have had time to plan this. Remember, think about it. What do we know? We know that Kiely was taken to this party, and the person who she went, well, not taken, I mean, she went to the party with her best friend, Mags, who then subsequently left. So they've been together all day, gone to this party. 10 minutes later, Mags has left. She's fucked off, done one. And then you've got Sammy, who stayed there with her. And then they've got her, drunk, and then left her there. And then this has ensued. Does anyone else have the feeling that the more you listen to this now, the more what we believed were the ramblings of Ryan Upchurch, some of it actually seems to make more sense now? Not all, but so what was that? So did Nick say it was definitely Kiely and definitely her car? He did. Nick said he was 100% confident this was Kiely. He was asked if he'd put a bet on it, and he said he would put $1 million on it that was Kiely. He has no doubt in his mind whatsoever that was Kiely. So I repeat, if you're late coming to the party, Nick has said that he is 100% sure that he spoke to Kiely and attended a vehicle matching Kylie's vehicle description after we were led to believe that she had entered the reservoir and passed away. And that's where we are in this case. There we go, in a nutshell. I feel that there has been several different body styles shown with Kylie's car. Could have been a clone car. I think that that's possible. Like I say, it's not an out of the ordinary, car. It's a run of the mill car, and it's just odd, isn't it? Like I say, this confusion over the sunroof of the vehicle, and it was like Sammy was specifically given information about the car, like the sticker on the back. And I'll tell you what, for me, was a bit weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to be friends. She said that she was with her all night. They drunk, shared drinks together. They peed together. They were good friends. She was asked in Dodgy Tony's interview about watches, and she was like, about whether Kylie had an Apple Watch. And she said, I don't know. We're not like that. We don't think we're cool because, I've got an iWatch, an Apple Watch. Didn't know whether her best friend had an Apple Watch, but she knew that she had a fucking sticker on the boot of a car. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Do you know what I mean? What is that about? You've got to be having a laugh. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've got some friends, and I can pretty much tell you what watches they got, what phones they got, what they like in terms of fucking clothing. But if you was to say to me, have they got a sticker on the back of their car, I couldn't tell you that shit. Maybe that's just me, but fuck. If that's the case, and he's so sure, and the case is closed, why wouldn't he bring the footage to back up his story? I don't think that it was footage that he could physically get. It was on a PDA. So he had access to the footage. He knew that there was footage because the vehicle records front and rear footage. So it's not like he's videoing them with his phone. The vehicle does that as part of the job. So he had spoken to his work. He had spoken to law enforcement, and it had been confirmed that there was footage. But then later on down the line, they then told him there was no footage. That's the issue with the footage. So just for clarity. So does that mean the firecam footage is fake? Think about the firecam footage. When did the firecam footage come out? Again, Occam's razor. When did it come out? The firecam footage came out a few days before the autopsy and toxicology report came out. So I don't know. Again, a very, very coincidental timing, and it shows a car going into the reservoir very, very clearly. And again, was that coincidental that it just happens to be a very clear image of a car going into the reservoir, basically at walking pace? And someone's just put the date manipulated on it. And it could have been that car was in there. Can you remember what Doug said about the vehicle when he found the vehicle? Now, bearing in mind that the car hadn't been in the reservoir that long, that time, Doug had said about the settlement on that vehicle. Can you remember? Now, I wonder whether that car was actually put in there weeks before, months before, and the video of that happening and being done. Because what didn't the firecam footage show? It didn't corroborate the number of people they said was at the sanctuary, the other cars. There wasn't that many cars around when that was being done. It's so many things. Report came out 2 days after that woman came out to defend Sammy. There you go, Margot. He said he was 100% it was Kylie. He did indeed, Aunt B. 100%. No messing about with it. No, he's pretty sure, or 99% sure, or 95% sure, or it might have been a different day. He is 100% 100% sure it was Kiely. 100% sure, and he would put $1 million on it. That's it. That footage was fake. I said it from the start. I watched till 2:30 a.m. and there was also another vehicle that went the same way as Kiely supposedly did. So where did it go? How did law enforcement miss Kiely's car? They weren't looking for it. That's all I can think of. They weren't looking for it. Where's the phone? Where's the phone gone? Why did the car have the settlement on it that Doug found bizarre, considering the amount of time it had been in the water? You know, there we go. Now, law enforcement have got some questions to answer now. Let's just put it that way. Don't call me crazy, but I wonder if what is happening with Jared from the AWP a payback for AWP messing up their big cover-up with the downside. The only thing I can say, like, obviously emails and that can be faked and things like that, but this has been going on for a while. The issue that you've got with Jared had been going on for months. It just kind of blew up when it did. Now, whether someone from the Truckee area helped push that ball down the hill, like I said before, I wouldn't put that out of the realms of possibility. But you know, Dixie, don't think a party, more like a fight club only. Could well have been. Could well have been. The flyer. Look at the flyer. It had a picture of a fight on the front of it. You know, that's what I meant by someone go and dig, and I think it absolutely led to it blowing up. Yeah. The case is that this is just insanity. I could make sense of it. Somebody in chat, anybody, whether you are, you know, we listen to everything over here. I don't care what you think, because I don't know if I'm right, and I don't know if you're right. You know, nobody has the right to tell someone that they're wrong. Not in this fucking case, anyway, because any one of us could be right. This case gets weirder. Is Kiely in Mexico? Kiely was in Mexico just before this all happened. She could be friggin' anywhere. But I'll tell you where I don't think she was, and I don't think she was in that car when it went into the water. I genuinely don't. Genuinely don't. There's just something that hasn't sat right with me this whole time. You know it hasn't. You know, all the people who turned around and said, leave it, you're going on and on and on. That's what I say to you. That is what I say to you. Because this ain't fucking normal. You know, I just don't get it. What do we say to that? What do we got? I'm always right, Harsh. I'm always right. My May, I'm always right. I am as well. Me too. What do we got? Maybe it was already in there. Why else would search institution be only search a certain distance? I believe it was. I genuinely think that there's a possibility that vehicle was there. Mandy Sharp, I think she's been trafficked. It's likely. It is something that can't be ruled out 100%. And that autopsy, you know, as many people who said that autopsy was straight, there was 3 people who said that autopsy was dodgy as fuck. I've read through a proper autopsy, which some of you guys have as well. I've actually been sent autopsies by some of you guys. I sadly read through and had to read through my own parents' autopsy. And I'm telling you now, that autopsy went nothing like the Kiely Rodni's one. And that was something that meant that there was a toxicology, everything, the whole 9 yards. You know, there we go. Y'all go hit that like and subscribe. Good vibes. Yes, look. Smash that like button, or I'll smash you. Do you know where I got that from? I got that from Lazy Masquerade. If you guys struggle to sleep, and you like to listen to the dulcet tones of a scary story, head over to Lazy Masquerade. Yeah, so there we go. That's what we have at the moment. What you are 100% correct, my baby. This is dodgy as F. It is. Thank you so much, Miss Kitty. That is going to go towards my counselling that I'm going to need after dealing with this case. What are we thinking? How can a simple accident affect so many people? We are not blind. We're not blind. Some people are. Some people found it very easy when the autopsy and the toxicology came out to wipe the hands of it. Let's not forget, I've been told by law enforcement, I know there's speculation over what they mean by that, but law enforcement have told me directly that the case is ongoing, it's open, and that's why they can't discuss it. So look, either law enforcement are still investigating, or they are purposefully keeping this open to avoid having to discuss anything. You know, this ain't over. This is not over. And this is the promise that I'm going to make now. I promise you that once Christmas is out of the way, it's an expensive time of year, especially when you've got children. If this is not over by the new year, I will put private investigators into this case. 100%. 100%. I will put private investigators on this case to get answers. I've said all along that I think there will be a twist in this case. Everything about it is so wrong. Maybe we will never get to the truth. There's certainly some people who they're stepping in the way. They're putting things in the way. Why wouldn't the parents reach out to Nick? Why was the mum so accepting of the story, the narrative? Why did the mum tell us to keep out of their business, that they had it? Why? That stuff like that just don't, we see so many parents who have lost their child. Some people whose children have been missing for years, for decades, and they don't give up. They will not give up. They will not give up. And they want anything that they could jump on. And do you know what? If I had a daughter, and even if I was told she was in there, and so I heard someone say, hold on a second, I saw her, I'll be all over it, because there's hope, isn't it? Even if, I just don't get it. I just can't work it out. Have a coffee on me, Harsh. Kinnell, you deserve it, fella. Thank you very much, Monkey Town, UK. Fellow UK-age person. I am Southeast UK. Down coast. Norfolk coast. The sheep are will to believe that it was an accident, and the outward thinking people know that this smells to hell of cover-up. Does indeed. That's just my thoughts. No one's going to convince me otherwise now. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise, because I don't think anybody can sort this out. Tell me. I just can't figure that out. It doesn't seem logical. You know what they say. If it doesn't make sense, it is not true. And it doesn't make sense what we're being told. The narrative, what we are being told, doesn't make sense. 100%. Maybe the lovely Lindsay Neiman isn't worried because Kiely Rodni is alive somewhere and they needed life insurance to bail out the lodge. Not seriously, but for the love, what the fuck is... And yeah, look, we've now been told that the lodge is boarded up. They are not there. That's what we've been told. I don't know how true that is, but I have been told by numerous locals that there is nobody at that lodge now. That lodge is closed up and they are gone. Now, is it because they're only there seasonal and they've got another property somewhere else? But they are not there. That's what I've been told. and the business line, everything has been disconnected. That's what I've been told. What's that? Wouldn't tow truck driver being given name or something to confirm meeting with? Nobody asked that to him. No, you're right. Nobody did ask him. Who knows? Who knows? I don't suppose if he's got all the information that he needs to do with the vehicle, maybe the personal details are not something they'll hand over. I don't know what data protection is like in your country, but it's sketchy as hell over here. They won't tell anybody anything. I can only talk for myself, but I think we are many that will back you up if you're a horror and investigator harsh reality. Thank you very much, JC. It's going to happen. I have a feeling that it's going to happen. There is much to hide in Truckee. Ex-law enforcement active in drug trafficking. Parents provide alcohol for the parties. Dab's bag in Kylie's car was known to mum, etc. You're right. There's a lot of things that would... What you've got to remember is this isn't just like a normal place. This is a very wealthy little tight-knit place. And, you know, if something's going to go wrong, they're going to try and hide it. I think they're just going to try and hide it. And this, to me, is something's gone wrong and they've tried to hide it. Like, some people have even asked whether Kylie even made it home. Who was the person in the car? I don't know, but I can't make sense of it. At the moment, I can't make sense of it. But I trust Nick. I trust him. And people might think I'm an idiot for that, but I can't work out why he'd be, unless he's completely mental. Thank you at Harsh Reality, and thank you all subscribers to him. We can get the word out massively. It is 100% true. And there we go. People need to know this. Do you know what I mean? People, even the people who have written this case off, they need to hear this information. They need to hear it. They need to know it exists. And they, you know, the only reason why I'm saying wait is because I've spoken to law enforcement myself and they have said that it's open, so I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They are there, their boots on the ground, and I don't want to write it off. And secondly, it's expensive to get decent private investigators. There's shit out there, but there's some it's expensive. You know, this year alone, me and a friend have put £20,000 into private investigations. We don't go on about it. We don't make it a huge thing, but that's what we've done. You know, if you want things found out, it's expensive. And I want to get Christmas out of the way, make sure that we're not eating beans on toast on Christmas Day. And, you know, if we need to, and law enforcement haven't pulled the finger out and put a cork in it by January, that's what we'll do. And that's my promise to you guys and to Kylie, because I can't make sense of it. Can't make heads or tail of it. The girl introduced herself as Kylie to Nick, was in the members only video by AWP. See, I watched it. I couldn't remember hearing that. I watched it. But like I say, he was 100% sure that was Kylie. 100% sure. And he's 100% sure it was a Saturday. So if he's 100% sure he saw Kylie on Saturday, then it's 100% sure that she weren't in that car at 12:34 a.m. when the fire cam footage showed her going into the water, or we was led to believe that she was going into the water. I think we need to look at the handbrakes. Yes. And there was also this guy Stephen. There's a lad called Stephen. And he was someone who, and some of you won't believe it, some of you will, some of you won't, you know, believe in this sort of thing. But Donna Serafina had looked into this name, and it was someone who she'd had a discussion about with Jagger. And that little fucking wanker lied as well. He lied because he said he didn't know anybody who was good on a, like surfing, like fucking whatever it was, waterboarding, wakeboarding, and they lied because one of the, I think it was Brandon's brother, one of the Nates, is basically semi-pro fucking wakeboarder. So they're all fucking liars. But that Stephen, he was someone who, when you see the pictures of Kiely in the black dress, I'm not going to say his second name. Not going to get the second name. But the guy Stephen, you may have seen him. He's on social media and he's wearing a purple suit. Put a number 1 in the chat if you know who I'm talking about. When I say Stephen, his name's not Stephen on the social media that I'm talking about, but he's shown wearing a purple suit. He's the person who took photographs of Kiely in the black dress. And he is a friend of Jagger's and Kylie's. And he was at the party. And he spent time with Kiely. And Donna Serafina had questioned Jagger to ask Stephen questions about Kiely. And I have a feeling that this Stephen may have been the person who could have been with Kiely that night. Could be wrong, but he fits the bill. Trust me, he fits the bill. Stepnet, that is the one. Stepnet. The purple suited dude. But there is a lot of things that what do we got? I agree to disagree on Nick. I don't trust him, and it's because I live with someone mental as fuck. He could make up his own story, tell it to himself, and I swear the next day 100% believe it. Which we've got to acknowledge, Misty, that is always a possibility. It is always a possibility. But then I think law enforcement very quickly should have come out and nipped that in the bud. They had a duty to the public and to the people around this case, if he was fucking mental, to say this guy's wrong. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? You know, he could. I must admit, now I'm not going to say who Nick is because it would be unfair at this stage. But Nick is on social media, and all I can tell you is Nick looks normal. Nick doesn't seem to be the sort of person who would lie. And yeah, that's just me judging what I see. Do you know what I mean? I just his name is Stephen McSteveface. Could you imagine if that was his actual name? That would possibly be one of the shittest names I've ever seen. Anything else? Look, you know me. I'm a quickie guy. I want to get you the information, and get you guys back to your families. So if you've got any questions, let's have them. But I think Harsh is on the right trail. We need the scent to be a little stronger, and I think that's right. But I think that we need everybody. We need a bit of unity. You know, the true crime community can be a massive fucking tool, and it can be a massive pain in the ass to people who want to do shit like this. Do you know what I mean? This could be a slight. We need to utilize what we can do and do it. And people need to have the balls to say, hold on a second, this don't look right. There's obviously something going on here, and let's join forces and do something about it. Because unless we do that, nothing's going to happen. Harsh, Doug and Josh Cantu both announced their resignations effective immediately. They are angry and disgusted. Yeah, I did see that Josh had resigned, and I knew that Doug from this morning, he wouldn't be far behind. That was the best thing that they could do. Obviously, it's going to be difficult. Sorry, I'm just going to cut into this now. But yeah, do you know what I mean? It's going to be hard for them because Adventures with Purpose is owned by Jared. You know, irrelevant of what people think. You know, a lot of people have said they could rebrand, they could take over, they could go on. They can't. They can't because Jared owns AWP. And I would imagine that there's a lot of financing, which is going to be in Jared's name. There'll be buildings and business. There'll be stuff tied into that all over the place. And with this now about to go down this legal route, there could be that business could be funding it. That could be funding this. So it's not as easy as that. But hopefully, between Josh and between, Doug, they can get together. They can get some funds together. They've obviously been earning money. They're known. And they can carry on doing what it is that they love doing. And I wish them the fucking very best of it. But let's get them out of it. Get them out. Move on. It said Jared Wife allegedly is a CEO. Now, what I'm going to tell you before I let you go and before I take some very final questions is this. I see many, many people look at this and they'll say CEO. They've got a CEO. The best way, if you are a business owner and you want to skim some money off of your business, is appoint someone as CEO. Because if you appoint someone as a CEO, what you can do is say, right, I've got a CEO and I pay them $150,000 a year. And that's my CEO's salary. That money up sticks and fucks off. So that's what they do. And it's not generally, what you generally find is that people own a business and they might put their wife as a secretary or, as a bookkeeper, and they'll give her a salary out of it. It's all just to skim the books, mate. But CEO is just, in my eyes, that is someone taking money out of the business. And they're doing it through a fictitious or a made-up job role for someone. I know people who have got businesses and that's what they do. That's what they do. They'll have an agreement with somebody and, that's it. So, Harsh, what do you think? Sorry, I hope the others do move on and do what they're good at. I do as well, 100%. I'm adorable. Not everybody thinks so, Jared's wife is not CEO. They hired a CEO. Yeah, I believe it was a guy. I believe they hired in a guy. That was her in her car in the water. Problem is, it may not have been in there since that night. The fire cam could be manipulated timestamp wise, and they would only do that to protect someone. There you go. That's it. That's it. But we know something happened, and now it's about pulling things apart and finding out exactly what went wrong. The fire cam footage is bogus. It's not okay. We were turned on to it by SF, I believe. Don't forget, though, for those of you who don't know, I have been in contact directly with Professor Graham Kent. Now, he is one of the directors who runs this organization that controls these cameras. And he sent me personally, from his personal email, he sent me the stills from that fire cam footage. Now, what do you think I'm going to be doing tomorrow? I'm going to be going back to Professor Graham Kent because I asked him whether that footage could be manipulated, and he said no. So I'm going to ask him, based on the fact that he told me they couldn't be manipulated, how is it that that footage seems to show somebody going into the water who was seen several hours later? Harsh Reality, please encourage viewers to go listen to Squirrel Girls video and be respectful. The link to Squirrel Girls video is in the description of this live. So if you haven't seen it after this, please head over and go and watch it. I think the video's around an hour. Obviously, the information isn't in the entire thing. So if you haven't got an hour and you avoid it because you think I don't want to watch for an hour, you don't have to. The information in there covers about 20 minutes or so. So you can get to the bit that you want, the meat and potatoes, and pull it out of it, and away you go. But look, guys, people need to see this. Like I say, people need to see it, they need to hear it, they need to be able to make an informed decision. And the more people that we can get to understand that this doesn't sit right, something's wrong here, and either Truckee is up to the neck in fucking dodginess, which that's what it looks like to me, or Nick is a mental case. But I want to know by, well, I want the case done by Christmas. I want the case done, but is it going to happen? Not likely. But we'll then put our own money into it. Sienna's voice is amazing. Thank you very much. She's shy, but she's got a good voice on her. Bless her. For those of you who don't know, that is my daughter, and one of the reasons why I do what I do. Anybody else got anything they want to say before we wrap up, call it a night, and let you guys shoot off and get back to your families or better channels than this one? I know there ain't many, but I'm sure you've got better things to do than stare into my eyes. But I thought that I would just jump on and go through. Just showing support from Australia, and so you can maybe buy some tomato sauce for your Christmas roast. Feel like you are the voice of reason among the train wrecks on YouTube. Did you know my younger brother, he would put tomato ketchup on everything. Whatever he was eating, he would put ketchup on it. Everything. If he had ketchup, he'd put ketchup on it. Absolute maniac, that kid. But yeah, look, what do we got here? I had directed you to a video of a lady who compiled all the dodgy law enforcement dealings over numerous deaths in the area. Please check that out. I am working my way through videos, through email still. It weren't long. My computer went away. I then had to go. I wait for it to come back. It still wasn't working, so I went and bought a new one. And I've got about 150 emails, and I'm constantly getting more. There you go. Ken, my man Ken, has the most authentic voice on YouTube. We try to be, Ken. We try. We don't give up. We annoy the fuck out of people, and we do get it wrong sometimes. But look, the voice channel is not at the moment. We're going to be doing videos on there. Don't worry. What we're going to be doing on that channel is we're going to be doing like there where we buy crates, blind crates. The kids are going to buy these crates of stuff like returns crates and things like that, and we're going to open them. So we're going to give them some money. They get to go and buy a pallet of returned stuff, and then we're going to open it. That's going to be a fucking nightmare, especially with one of ours because she's a stitch-up merchant. Welcome to Harsh Reality, and thank you for being here. Don't forget to leave your DNA on that like button, sub and share. Please respectful to chat. You have all been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for being here. You know, I don't think there's much more to say without repeating ourselves now, so I don't want to do that. There we go, guys. That's the information. That was Nick. That information came from Squirrel Girl Crime Talks channel. So all credit to that channel. Like I say, the link is in description. Go and check that out if you've got time. If you haven't, skip to the bit you need. The meat and potatoes, like I say, is about 20 minutes. And that is absolutely everything. Love you all. Y'all are my babies. And I'll catch you all in the next one.